How to change fixed size view with modified command in Windows? I'm trying to figure out how to change the size of a V file. I'm new to VirtualBox, and I got a lot to learn. But I think I got the hang of the basics. I have already installed Windows 7 as my first guest. The host is also Windows 7. I wasn't sure how much disk space to allocate, so I went for a V size of 40 GB and fixed size for increased performance. But I have changed my mind now, and I want to add another 10 GB. I've been clicking around the program and reading the help menu contents, but it's not helping. It explains disk controllers, SAS, SATA, SCSI, yada, yada, but not what I'm looking for. I searched the World Wide Web for answers. The VirtualBox forum says you're supposed to use carded if you want the easiest method. Some mod posted is sticky. Some users discuss using dd command. But that's all Linux stuff. Also, there are plenty of questions here at SU that deal with increasing and decreasing V file sizes, but they are all about using Linux as host and Windows as guest. I found this nice blog post on how to do it with the modified command of VBoxManage. This guy is also doing it on Linux as host OS. He even wanted the same size, 50 GB, for his V file as I did for mine. What a coincidence! So I thought I would give it a try anyway, either make it or break it. What can possibly go wrong? Well, this is the ugly surprise I got. Say what now? Can't resize virtual hard disks of the V format? You don't say? Not supporting your own format? Now how about that? Is there really no simple way to change the size of a V file, preferably with a few clicks inside VirtualBox? Anything in progress?
Summary. VBoxManage.x modified resize can increase, but not decrease, the logical size of disk image, the size seen by the guest OS. VBoxManage.x modified input file.vcompact can decrease the physical disk image size, the size of the image file on disk as seen by the host OS. This, however, does not change the logical disk size. Note that this only works if free space has been zeroed in the guest OS first. Modified only works only with the dynamic format variant, dynamically allocated image. Modified only works with V and VHD image formats. If you are using snapshots, you will have to clone the latest snapshot. V from snapshot subfolder. For details, see section 8.23. VBoxManage modified in the manual. The reason why decreasing the logical disk size of a V has not been implemented yet is to prevent data corruption which could occur and you would have unbootable VMS as a result of it. Therefore, when the resize option is used, the new disk size must be greater than the current size. It is not allowed to be less than or equal to the current size. In other words, a 40 GB disk can only be resized to 41 GB or greater than that. It cannot be resized to 40 GB, that's just dumb, or 39 GB or less than that. Old versions of VirtualBox created V files as fixed format variant. The new default setting is now to create dynamic format variants when UVD, virtual disk image, files are created. I'm guessing this is the case since the introduction of dynamic format variant, whichever version that was introduced in. So what the error message operation for this format is not implemented yet means is that your VD file uses the fixed format variant. To get around this problem, you will have to clone your VD file using the cloned command. To view what format variant your VD file is in at the moment, you can use the showtinfo command. Working example. Showed the information about the current disk. Input command, VBoxManage.x showed info path /inputfile.v. See where it says fixed default? That's why it spits out the error above when you try to resize it. Clone the old V file to a new VD file. Input command, VBoxManage.x cloned path /inputfile.v path /outputfile.v. Voila! The old file has now been cloned to a new file. Since the default setting in new versions of VirtualBox is to use dynamic format variant, you don't have to define that explicitly. Although, if you are working with an older version of VirtualBox, then you might want to set the option to dynamic, if at all available, to ensure better compatibility and/or flexibility with future versions of VirtualBox. Showed the information about the clone disk. Input command, VBoxManage.x showed info path /inputfile_clone.v. See how it now says dynamic default? How nice! On the side note, the reason it says 7806 MB as physical size here is because I had used the compact option on the original VD file in an attempt to enforce conversion to dynamic format variant. Just something I read on the VirtualBox forum. It supposedly would have worked with older versions, so I thought I might as well give that a try. It didn't work. Resizing the clone disk. Input command, VBoxManage.x modified path /inputfile.v resize 51200. Success. No format bullshitting no more. Just remember to resize the new, clone disk, and not the original one. Keep in mind that the size is expressed in MB. I believe you can use for example 51200 as well as 50 grams, or possibly GB. There is also the option resize a byte which can be used to express the size in bytes. Showed the information about the resize clone disk. Input command, VBoxManage.x showed info path /inputfile_clone.v. That's it. From here what you have to do is add this cloned drive as your new VD for the VM. You do that inside VirtualBox. I won't go into that. If you have been able to read and understand this so far, then you probably don't need no further guiding. You can either delete the old fixed file, or leave it as a backup. Make sure you test the new VD file before you delete the original source file. Note: you will not immediately see the new size of the cloned disk. You have to boot the VM with it, and then you have to use your partition management tool to expand your partition to fill the virtual disk, or create more partitions. For Windows, just run disk.msc, and you'll be able to expand the partition in there. Screenshots. Reference: forums.virtualbox.org. VBoxManage modified resize == VBox_E_not_supported. Forums.virtualbox.org. 8.23. VBoxManage modified. www.virtualbox.org, 8.23. VBoxManage modified. Resize partition of Windows 7 running on VirtualBox with dynamically allocated storage.
Here's a fairly simple process that worked for me to resize a VirtualBox v. April 3, 2016, fixed size disk to a 60 GB dynamic disk on my Mac, OS X 10.9.4, with Linux, Ubuntu 14.04, running as the guest OS. In Terminal on the Mac, cd into the directory with the v file and type the following. In VirtualBox Application Storage section, admit as clone.v as a second HD, then start the VM normally. In the shell on the guest OS, type reboot the guest. When it comes back up, go to the shell again and type shut down the guest OS. In VirtualBox Application Storage section again, set mid as clone.v to be the boot disk. Then start guest OS and verify new disk size using properties of computer in the file browser.
Cloning is actually a better solution, and there is an easier way to do it. From the File menu, select Virtual Media Manager, then click Copy. The source will be your original fixed size V hard disk and your destination will be something new of your choosing, includes the option of a new.
Okay, so I made it happen without cloning. I had a 100 GB V file, fixed format, with Ubuntu on it. Working fine. I wanted to free up some space in the host by shrinking the VM. Steps. Clean up. Deleted unwanted files. 45 GB free. I only need 30 GB to be freed. Fix the guest OS. I only have one partition, so cannot do anything from inside guest Ubuntu. Mounted Ubuntu lid in the VM and booted from it. Used party to shrink the partition to 70 GB. Created a new partition in the unused space in X4. Wipe the free space. The free space in the new partition, 30 GB. Follow this guide, shrink virtual hard drive on Ubuntu as guest and host OS using zero free. My new partition was /dev/sda3. Compactivity. VBoxManage modified Ubuntu.d compact. It took a while, but it worked.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.